L is for the way.
At petfix-club, we want to make owning a pet the best it can possibly be for you and the one you love. Enjoy personalised online pet care at petfix-club.com. Start your free trial today. Love your pet? Join the club.
Listen, do you know a funny thing is that I'm from Scotland, and one of the things that I do struggle with is names, especially that are Irish names, and so you must be used to that. But I say Doireann, but that's incorrect, isn't it?
Unfortunately, it is. But I have had a lifetime of incorrect pronunciation, so don't worry. You just got to join the club, the Petfix Club. It's Doireann. It's Doireann. But anything goes.
Doireann. Thank you very much. No, that's fine. I got it now.
Perfect.
And
we're good to go.
I have no problem with your dog's name. That's Bertie, isn't it?
That is Bertie, the love of my life. You might see him here behind me, looking very, very dapper in his fabulous suit there.
Oh, yeah, very fancy.
He doesn't wear that every day. That's probably not very. I mean, no. To be honest, it's photoshopped. He never wore it. We're all good. We're all good.
What sort of dog is he anyway?
So Bertie is a cockalier. So he's a cross between a cavalier and a cocker spaniel, which we had never seen before. So we just thought he was absolutely gorgeous, and he's the love of our lives. He's been our sanity in lockdown from start to finish, and we just love him to bits.
And you know what? You're one of many people who have just fallen in love with dogs over lockdown. It's been an unexpected highlight, I think, of the whole COVID thing has been the fact that people have found themselves at home more, and they found themselves, if you like, stuck beside their dogs, and they're falling in love with their dogs all over again. And a lot of people have realised there's space in their life for a dog, and they've got dogs, and it's been great. And there's something very real about a dog, isn't it? Like there's no messing around, there's no play acting. They tell you as it is, basically.
Totally. And the great thing is as well, like you could have the worst day, be in the worst mood. Like you could technically, like, I mean, you could be an awful person in work. You could be really grumpy. You could be horrible to I'm not saying I am, but I'm just saying, just to prove a point about dogs, like you could be really grumpy and rude to your colleagues and come home. And I still think no matter what kind of person you are, a dog will soften you and will find that side of you that makes you go, oh, what is all the drama about? Like life should be lived the way dogs live it.
Exactly, very much in the moment, and that's it. And that makes me think about one thing. I know Bertie has been a stick chaser in the past, and you got an olive. I think we were talking before about the dangers of stick throwing. People don't realise that the sticks can damage dogs accidentally. And you got a thing called an olive stick for him, didn't you?
Yes, you guys actually. Thanks to you guys, you alerted me to the dangers. I never knew. You know, I suppose it's a classic thing. Dogs and sticks, they love them, and so you'd never think it was a problem. But yeah, I never actually asked you, is it in their tummy it could cause a problem, or is it in their mouth, like as in their dental stuff?
I'll tell you exactly. What happens is, like, imagine this is a stick, this bit of paper. So you're throwing a stick for your dog, and he's running and picking it up, like this. Then what happens is one time you throw it, and it actually lands in the ground like this. So now it's stuck in the ground like a javelin. Then what happens is your dog runs up to grab it like this, and they grab it like that, but the stick is stuck in the ground. And so it goes like that, right to the back of their throat. And it literally, it's like them being stabbed in the back of their throat. So, you know what? The most shocking one I ever saw was a call I got from somebody on a mobile phone because it had just happened to a dog. And I rushed out to help because she said, I can't move him, he's collapsed. When I got to her, the dog was actually lying in a pool of blood and was dead because it just lacerated a big blood vessel at the back of the throat. I know, it was just shocking. Now, most often it's far less dramatic than that, but they just get all the same. It's a very serious injury they get. So it's best. That's why it's best to avoid throwing sticks. Actually, I've got here's one of my favourite throwing things, a thing called a chuck it. I'm sure you've seen these. You probably use one of these yourself, do you?
Yeah.
It's, you know, like one of those yokes you can chuck the ball from, instead of throwing with your hand, in which case it probably goes like 20 yards maybe. With this thing, you can send it for like half the way to.
No, they're brilliant.
Donegal,
I recently, I've had a couple of injuries recently. I'm like a feckin' croc going around. But my knee was the most recent thing. But a while back, I hurt my back. And so when I'd be bringing Bertie out, I couldn't throw the ball for him. So I had one of those. They're just brilliant. They run more, they get tired quicker, and you have to do less. Which I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. I mean, if we could get more steps in, it's always a good thing. But they are really handy.
Yeah, and I mean, I think not all dogs. We've got 2 dogs. One of them would just live for this. The other one just looks at it. And if dogs could shrug their shoulders, she'd shrug her shoulders. Do you know?
yeah.
She's not bothered.
But that's what I love about them as well. They all have such different personalities. Like, you know, and I'm not really a cat person, so I don't really know, you know, what way it is with cats. I know in my mind it's like, they're all just sassy. But with dogs, all of different things they're mad about or into or whatever.
How old is Bertie now?
He was 1 on the 1st of March.
Oh, right. Well, he's absolutely heading into his prime then, isn't he?
Yeah, and I actually, you know what? I had always thought it was the whole dog years, that it was 7 years. But I read something recently that that's incorrect. Am I right? Yeah,
it's right. That's not right at all. It's much more subtle than that, really. If you think about it, like, by a year of age, like, Bertie's a pretty much adult dog. But a 7-year-old human is still a long way from being an adult human, you know? So dogs basically go from 0 to 20 or something in the first year. And then they kind of age at around probably 3 or 4 years a year till the end. So it's fast at first, then it slows. And dogs can live up to, I don't know, 15, 16, 17. Yeah. So if you multiply that by 7, you're up to well into the hundreds, which doesn't really happen. So it's more subtle than that. Should be an app to tell you what dog is in dog years, really, shouldn't there? Get really accurate. And so tell me, what sort of issues do you have with Bertie? Is he a pretty healthy dog generally?
Generally, he's brilliant. I have to say, my boyfriend Paddy is just so good with. So I'm gone in the mornings at 5, half 5, and Paddy generally will wake up just after me and go straight to the Phoenix Park with Bertie, and they get their walks in. He loves a bit of swimming as well. Paddy kind of slowly but surely got him into that, and he's mad about it now. He'll go straight in, even when we don't want him to. We're like, no, we don't have time for a bath, and he's gone. But
where does he go swimming? Like, is there a lake or?
Yeah, I'm afraid you're going to tell me now that it's bad. There's kind of like a big pond in the Phoenix Park, but my dad actually. It was my dad that said it to me at the start. He was like, that could be dangerous, but there's a river flowing through it, so he. Did I break up there?
Yeah, it's okay. It's grand. You just kind of stop for a while, but then you're grand again, so it's fine. I mean, swimming is a great exercise for dogs because they can use their muscles a lot while not putting too much pressure on their joints. The only issues, I guess, with swimming would be that you have to. Dogs, like we said, they kind of live in the moment, and that means that they love swimming. They love leaping off the bank into the river or whatever and swimming, but they don't think before they go in, how am I going to get out? You know? So there are times when dogs can't get out because there's no way out, really. So as an owner, you have to kind of do the thinking stuff for them, really. And I'm sure Paddy does, and I'm sure you do.
Totally.
And there are been some really sad times when dogs have got into a bit of difficulty because they haven't been able to get out, or because it's been a storm or a flood or something, and owners go in after them. And actually, often the dogs do get out and the owners don't make it, because dogs are very, very resilient generally, you know.
But he loves his swimming. But the most recent thing, Paddy has started to cycle with him running behind, and I'm a bit like, I don't know if that's good for his joints. But they stop and start and stop and start. Like, he loves it, and he seems to be so happy to be chasing the bike. But
you know that's the key thing, is that he's happy. Because I often get people contacting me saying they saw somebody doing it to their dog, they thought it was so cruel. Well, you know, I think it'd be cruel if you're dragging a dog along by its neck and it didn't want to do it. But if Bertie's charging along and loving it, it's probably good. Have you got a harness for him rather than the collar?
Yes. Harness. Yeah.
So a harness is great because then it's not restricting their movements. Do you know they can?
But he's off. He'll just run freely. He's brilliant at staying with Paddy. Paddy has kind of trained him off the lead from the get-go, and so he just chases the bike, no bother.
Yeah. Do you know what? There's actually a sport that is exactly that. It's called bike joring, and it basically, you're on a bike and it's got a special attachment on the handlebars for the dog, and so the dog actually runs ahead of you. So
Okay.
a bit like sledging, only the dog's actually not pulling you very much because you're on a bicycle, you're pedaling.
Yeah.
But it's a great sport. People do it on kind of forest paths and that kind of stuff, do you know?
Yeah.
So it's I think it's a great kind of sport. There's also something called canicross. Do you know about canicross?
No.
That's a great sport too. So you got a harness around your waist, and you got like a bungee cord attached to your waist as well, and that goes onto a harness on your dog, and so the two of you run together. So it's like a race, but it's a dog and human racing against other dogs and humans.
Love it. Oh, that'll be my new fitness goal now.
Yeah, but it's really enjoyable, and your dog gets really fit as well. People don't think about dogs getting fit, but they have to get fit just like we do. You know,
Yeah.
They're not kind
And
of
actually,
naturally athletes.
which probably brings us nicely onto the like I think oh feck, am I frozen again? Did I freeze again?
Okay, no, you're all right, Grant.
The breed of Cavalier, they tend to carry weight easily. Am I right?
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Have you had him neutered?
No, not yet. Well, oh my. Okay, Pete, I need your expert opinion because I, being female and listening to, I suppose, vets in the past, think he should be. Paddy, being male and not being able to cope with the idea of what neutering is, doesn't want him to be neutered. So, what do you think?
Well, do you know what? Probably a decade ago, I would have said all male dogs should be neutered when they get around 6 months or a year. All of them. But thoughts have changed, and some of the research that's been coming out is changing that a bit. Female dogs generally are still best to be spayed because it prevents mammary cancer, which is really, really common in dogs. But male dogs, yes, it does prevent some problems, but as well as that, it affects them in different ways that aren't always necessarily good. So nowadays, instead of saying all male dogs should be neutered, we'd be saying, well, it depends on the male dog. So if the male dog is being what you might call an excessively male little dog. You know, if he's humping everything in sight, if he's trying to run away from your house to find the bitch in season next door, or you know, if he's just being in a very masculine dog in ways that are not so much fun for anybody, then neutering is a great idea. But you also have to be aware that testosterone is what gives dogs their self-confidence and assertiveness. So especially dogs, some dogs are very shy, anxious kind of dogs, and those dogs, they're actually saying nowadays they shouldn't neuter them. They definitely should not neuter them because it can make them less confident, you know. But so that's a new thing. But the other thing is, and this is what brought me onto the topic, dogs that are neutered are 50% more likely to get obese, to put on weight. So you can deal with that by just feeding neutered dogs less food, fine. But at the same time, it's one of the reasons why you might debate, is it definitely good or bad to have a dog neutered? Okay, so there you go. The jury's a little bit out, and it does depend on little Bertie.
Sorry, I'm trying not to laugh. My dad commented underneath this and said, Bertie is saved. Oh, yeah. He says, congrats, Bertie, go for it. Get a girlfriend or boyfriend, whatever way he's inclined.
Yeah, that's getting complicated now.
Oh.
The other thing that his little breed is a bit prone to is dental disease, actually.
Oh, God. Okay, right.
Yeah.
How do we prevent that?
Well, again, like, this is a bit sort of new. In the past, we'd have definitely said, well, toothbrushing maybe, okay? Whereas now what we're saying is, you definitely need to do something. If you don't do something, your dog will definitely get a build-up of tartar and periodontal disease and loses teeth early. And dogs with dental disease don't live as long. They get other diseases as well. So it's absolutely worthwhile doing something every day. Absolutely. And there's always debate in this stuff, always. And if you ask 10 people, they tell you something different. So what I go by is what's called the World Small Animal Veterinary Association Global Guidelines. So what they did is they went to the world expert scientists in doggy dentistry, and they said, what should everybody be doing? And so this is what they concluded. First of all, toothbrushing is good, okay? And if you can just use a normal toothbrush, or you can get a long handle kind of dog one, and you should use doggy toothpaste because it's designed to be swallowed, because you're not meant to swallow human toothpaste, you're meant to spit it out. Doggy toothpaste It kind of tastes of raw chicken and raw liver. It's really yummy stuff. And it's designed to be swallowed. Grand, okay? So definitely brush the teeth every day, but just the front teeth.
Okay.
Because that's easy enough to do. You can brush the front teeth. The back teeth, because it's so difficult to get a brush in there in a dog, what they reckon is that giving dental chews every day is the best thing. So it's brushing every day for the front teeth and dental chews, you know, these kind of yolks.
Okay.
One every day as a that's what I do with my dogs. They get it as a treat last thing at night. They get a chew each. The Dentistix range is probably one of the best known ones, but there's other ones out there as well. And I know people sometimes give out about these things and say, they're just full of chemicals and sugars and stuff, and that's actually not true at all. They're clinically proven to work. People say, just give a dog a raw bone, that'll do grand. Problem with raw bones do help the teeth a bit, but they're too hard, and so what happens is dogs end up with broken teeth because they're chewing so hard on the bone that they break their tooth. Those are safe. They're a little bit squidgy. And that means that the dogs, you know, they can't hurt themselves by chewing them. Yeah. So there you go. How do you do that? I say do it just before you feed them in the evening. So then they associate it with something that's kind of fun. Dinner's coming, great, and they don't mind you poking around their mouth like that.
Yes. I know Bertie is watching in the living room. Should we bring him in and have a look at him and see how he is?
I'd love to see him. I'd love to meet him properly. Go on.
Okay,
go and get him.
Paddy's going to bring him in, but while we're waiting for him to come in, someone has asked, from what age should you brush their teeth?
Well, you know, I'd say doing it from they're very young, so it becomes part of their routine, just like with humans, just like children. It should be part of your routine. You shouldn't really think about it twice. It's just what you do, you know. I mean, it sounds kind of like a humanizing the dog, but the point is that it actually does work really, really well. And I see dogs coming in 12, 13, 14 years of age with almost perfect teeth because the people have made a point of looking after their teeth. Hey, Bertie. Oh!
Straight in for the kisses.
Look at him. What a flyer. Isn't he lovely? Hey, Bertie.
He is the most...
Bertie. Hello, Bertie. How you doing? How you doing, pal? Hello. You're a very pretty boy, aren't you?
He is such a good boy.
Look at those ears.
We have treats here to keep him nice and happy. Now, Bert, look. Oh, lovely. Lovely.
And tell me, Doireann, how is his general training?
Oh, he's just brilliant. As I say, Paddy is like so good with him. I've done bits and bobs, but Paddy has taught him like all the regular stuff. But like he's perfect. Like, we're living in an apartment. He hasn't gone to the loo in the apartment in months. So the general routine is like a long walk in the morning and then a long one in the evening. And then in the afternoon we bring him out to go as well. But yeah, he's just great, and his temperament is brilliant. He's great with other dogs. I think Paddy was just adamant from when he was tiny that he would be off the lead and just mingle with lots of different dogs. Like, he has such welcome for himself in the park. Like, there's no dog that or person that he kind of hesitates with. He's straight over to say hello. Which was,
and does he come back when you want him to come back?
We're right beside the Phoenix Park, and that, like, there's so many dogs there, so it was so important that he was good at socializing with other dogs.
Absolutely, that's the key. Start when they're young, and you know that's the big problem with puppy farm dogs. They're not socialized when they're young, and they end up being very anxious with other dogs. Yeah. He looks like he's perfectly socialized.
Oh, he loves life, and he's like, I do worry that after lockdown, will he get, lonely during the day and stuff, but he's great. Anytime we have left him for, a couple of hours, he just sleeps, and we make sure he's had a good walk before we go, so he's just chilling. So yeah, I mean, I know we mentioned that a lot of people have got dogs during lockdown, and some people are finding it hard to cope with their temperament. So we feel really lucky that I do think some of it is luck of the draw as well. Like, you can do as much training as you want, but if they are just a bundle of energy, it can be hard to tame them, I suppose, when you're just chilling out at home and you just want them to.
Yeah, but like, in fairness,
yeah.
But you are doing everything right, you see. Like, giving a dog a good half-hour walk morning and evening makes a huge difference to them, because they burn up not just the physical energy but also the mental energy. And then dogs love sleeping. I mean, I can't believe how much dogs sleep. They just compared to us, they sleep all day.
I know. He loves it. He's very good.
And how about his feeding habits? What are they like? That's another important part of the dog's life.
Yes. So, like there's been a couple of times where he gets a bit bored of his nuts on their own. And I think that's probably because we spoiled him every now and then. If we have leftover chicken at dinner, or even scrambled eggs or something, we'll throw them into his bowl. And I kind of thought that was a bad habit, but then I was like, you know what? If it means he'll eat the rest of his food, then, and because he gets so much exercise as well, there was a time at the start where he was flying around the park and not really eating that much, and I kind of went in, and he right size, but we wouldn't mind him gaining maybe a kilo. So we kind of said, okay, it's not the worst in the world if we put a bit of, we have this fish oil stuff that we put into his food as well that he thinks is really tasty, and he's great for his treats and stuff as well. Yeah. So generally he's good, but we tried, when he wouldn't eat the nuts on their own, the vet said to us, give him his breakfast, leave it there for 20 minutes, and if he doesn't eat it, take it back up. So we tried all those techniques, and he was a bit of a diva, to be honest. He was like, no, I don't even care. You can take it all you want. So so that's when we started introducing a bit more of the eggs and chicken and stuff. But I suppose it's probably not the worst thing in the world that he doesn't eat the nuts on their own.
No, it's fine. I mean, generally the nuts that you use will be complete nuts. And it's important to use good quality ones that have got good ingredients. They're good for him, and they're kind of the dog world. They're really tasty. That's fine. But dogs don't need that much food, and definitely moist food, whether it's fresh, human cooked food, or whether it's tinned food or whatever. It's tastier. It's like food like that. It's got stuff in it that makes it to dogs. It's got stronger smell and more just more yumminess about it than dried food. So the rule of thumb is that you're meant to mix no more than 10% of their total food as, if you like, fresh food mixed with their food, and that I think is not a bad thing to do at all. It gives the dog a bit more variety, and you can still be sure that it's a balanced diet for them, and that's why they need a balanced diet. The other thing I think that's probably the most important single thing to me is that a dog is thriving. Now, whatever you're feeding your dog on, whatever it is, as long as your dog looks fabulous, with a nice shiny coat, bright eye, loads of energy, well then that's it. It speaks for itself, really.
It's you know what? It's a bit like, it's a lot like human, diet information and fitness information. There's such a minefield out there, and you can really overthink it. But as long as they're happy and they're, they, as you say, eating their food and they're looking well and they're wagging their tail, that's the main thing, I think.
Like if you talk to different people, you'll find some of them have found a way of feeding dogs that they're absolutely convinced it's the only thing that you can do. You should never do anything else other than this way. But that's just simply not true. Just like with humans, like there's paleo people and there's vegan people and there's pescatarians and vegetarians and whatever. There's loads, and they're all fine for different people. So whatever. Same with dogs, I reckon. As long as you're sure it's a balanced diet and it's complete. Those are the two main things,
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, there's some questions come in. Do you mind if you answer some of these?
Go for it. Absolutely.
You've done this, I'm sure, way more than me. But let's just see. I think I press on that there, don't I? And there it pops up on the screen.
Oh, so that's cool. God, you're very ahead of the times. I didn't know that was a feature.
It's amazing. It's like magic. Any advice for a dog aged 4 who eats everything, baby socks, dirty tissues on walks, etc.? Oh, that's a difficult one. Actually, I've got good advice for that. What you're meant to do there is you're meant to teach the dog a specific command called the leave it command. And there's some good videos. If you go to PetFix website and search for leave it, you'll find some videos that show you how to teach that. And basically what it comes down to is you have an ultra tasty treat in your hand, something that's absolutely delicious that the dog would die for. And so then you give the dog something that they kind of half want. They're not totally wanting it, but yeah, I'm quite happy with this. And then you say, leave it, and give them the really tasty treat. And they learn then that when you say leave it, they're going to get something absolutely wonderful. And so you repeat that, and you basically then increase the desirability of the thing that they've got when you say leave it. And gradually then you reinforce this. And so eventually, when you're on this walk and your dog goes towards some disgusting tissue and goes to pick it up, you say, leave it, and the dog leaves it and comes back to you. So that's the leave it command, and that works really, really well. You don't need to do it with Bertie. Obviously, he's not like that. But I know there's lots of dogs that are.
Well, he has an obsession with fox poo that we could really do with getting him out of that habit. But I
he
think,
rolls in it, does he?
yeah.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Oh,
well,
it's awful.
The leave it command could work for that as well. You just,
Okay.
it's a thing you have to do. One of the things I think, one of the useful tips is that you're actually meant to train your dog for 15 minutes every day for their entire life. Now, most of us don't bother to do that, but it's not that difficult to integrate it into walks or into just different things that you do. And if you train your dog for 15 minutes every day, then they just learn all this stuff. And then they're easier to have around. It's more fun for them, more fun for you. Here's somebody who's asked a question. Did you have a birthday party for Bertie?
I couldn't look at. We can't have human birthday parties, so I was hardly going to let him have a canine one. No, we did not. We got him a few little toys and stuff, but there was no party, unfortunately. We have a lot of parties to catch up on as soon as we're allowed, so we will do that. We'll have a massive doggy hoolie as soon as we're allowed.
That's brilliant. What's this now? What's the best way to settle a 10-week-old pup at night in the crate? How was Bertie when did you use a crate for Bertie?
Yes, we did. It's funny, like Paddy was great at kind of being like, no, leave him when he was crying. But I don't know if it's a female thing. I found it torturous. It was like a maternal instinct kicked in, and I couldn't bear the sounds of him crying. Now I was good at leaving him and not going out unless we absolutely had to. But I do think it is very much a case of tough love. And anyone who's asked me about it, who has got a dog since we got Bertie, my advice, not that it's expert advice or anything, but my advice is, tough love is key. You kind of have to, for the long run, your best bet is to try and leave them out there as long as you can. Obviously, go out and let them do the toilet breaks and stuff when they're really small, but the longer you can leave them, the better. And now we can just leave him in the kitchen, and he can sleep wherever, and he's just happy out.
You didn't keep the crate for him?
We still have the crate, so if we're having dinner, we'll put him in the crate so that he's not.
He's happy in there. He's happy to go into it.
Out. He goes, like when you say go to bed, he goes straight into the crate.
Yeah, I think it's a great thing to have routinely for any dog, Yeah. And I mean, it is. I think with a 10-week-old pup, I think it's a bit of a balance between, some tough love and some reassuring them. Look, it's okay, all's good. You don't want a dog to get hysterically upset or they'll be emotionally traumatized for life. So it's a bit of a balance, really. I remember when we had a puppy one time, we were at that stage. I mean, thoughts keep changing on this stuff, by the way. If you listen to the top behaviours, they keep changing what they're suggesting. So back then, tough love was definitely the thing. So one evening, the puppy was yelping and kept on yelping. It was yelping louder, and we thought, good grief, we can't leave. We can't do this stuff. We can't do it. So anyway, we went down to him, and there the poor little dog had managed to get his head stuck in a cardboard box, and that was what he was yelping, the poor little thing. So that was just common sense, really, And you should listen to your common sense. And if your common sense is saying this is wrong, then it's probably wrong,
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah.
Let's just see what else somebody's saying here. Thoughts on a raw food diet? Exhausted all roads for allergies. Any tips? Well, that's a little bit like what I was talking about, saying like some people are absolutely adamant that raw food is what they want to do for their dog. They're so passionate. They're evangelical about this stuff. That's the only way. Doing anything else, you're insane. Okay, and that's not true. Okay, there's lots of good ways to feed dogs, and that doesn't mean that you should not feed your dog on raw food, but it's not like a cure-all. It doesn't mean that your dog will live forever and be allergy-free. It just doesn't work like that, all right? But the only thing with raw food that people need to be aware, there's two things that need to be aware of that are going to feed the dog on raw food. First thing is that raw meat does have bacteria in it. So the food that you're using, like kibble or like, the tins of food, that has been cooked. Because it's been cooked, it's like milk that's been pasteurized or whatever. So that means that there's no live bacteria in it. It's not got bacteria in it. If you feed raw food, there's bacteria in it. Now, the dog can cope quite well with bacteria in their food because they've got lots of acid in their stomach compared to us. But the problem is that in your household, there'll be bacteria and possibly dangerous bacteria in the dog's bowl and possibly in your hands if you're not careful when you're after preparing the food. And also, importantly, around the dog's muzzle if the dog's licking people afterwards. So it's fine in most households, but you have to be aware that if you have like very young children or elderly people or people who are immunocompromised, then raw food's not for you. But I'd also be, I'm sorry to go on about this, Doireann. Also, it's not like a complete cure for an itchy dog. There's lots of misunderstandings of itchy dogs. Does Bertie itch at all?
No, he kind of bites his feet every now and then, but that's yeah, he doesn't itch a whole lot.
Yeah, so there's lots of causes of itchiness, and one cause is food allergy, but it's only one cause. The most common cause is actually environmental things like vegetation and pollens and things on the road that just cause a bit of an irritation on the feet. That's really, really common. So whoever is asking me that question, I would just say, you've exhausted all roads for allergies. Well, I would go to your vet and ask about it's a special food you can get. It's called a hydrolyzed diet, and it's been pre-processed so that it's impossible for any of the food to cause an allergy. The little chains of proteins are so tiny they can't even cause an allergy. So all you do is you put your dog on that diet for 6 weeks. If your dog stops itching, you've solved it. It's definitely a food allergy, and then you problem solved. If your dog is still itching after 6 weeks, then it's not food allergy. So that's what I would do. I wouldn't be going on to a raw diet in the hope that it's absolutely definitely going to cure your dog. It might cure your dog if your dog is allergic to something that doesn't happen to be in that raw diet. But anyway, it's a really complicated kind of area. I'm just glad that Bertie isn't itching.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have him insured?
We actually don't have insurance yet, which is not good. I know we should. What would your recommendation be, Pete?
I don't know. There's different thoughts on this, of course. I mean, insurance probably is the ideal, because you pay, I don't know, 20, 25 quid a month or something, and then anything goes wrong with your dog, you don't have to make a call on how much you're going to spend on it. The insurance company covers all the costs. If your dog needs a big back surgery that costs 4 or 5 grand, you know, they'll cover it for you. But
Yeah.
you know, but the truth is, most dogs are healthy most of the time. You know,
Yeah.
and insurance only works because most dogs are healthy most of the time. So it's only one in a blue moon that actually needs a big operation like that. But I guess I'd be saying to folk like you is, if you're not going to insure your dog, probably mentally it's worthwhile putting 20 quid a month to one side in a subsection of your bank account or whatever, so that if poor little Bertie there does get a swollen ear or a broken tooth, or hi Bertie, hi little fella.
Who's that? Who's that?
I love his ears. His ears look
I
like sort
know.
of brunette hair coming down the side of his face, don't they?
I think they need a little bit of a trim. They dip into his water bowl when he takes a drink.
Yeah. Yeah, some people put little hair baubles on their dog's ears like this, over their ears, so they don't get wet. And do you get them professionally groomed?
Yes, yeah. It's been a while now, obviously, with lockdown, but we do.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Let me just see what any other questions here. What's this one here? Oh, this is a great one. You might know the answer to this one, Doireann. What's your experience of treating dogs with tactile hyperesthesia after meningoencephalitis?
Oh my God, I'm so glad they asked. This is exactly what I wanted to talk about. No idea. Okay,
well, here's the thing. I have no idea either, okay? And that's a really unusual problem. So meningoencephalitis, even in dogs, is actually pretty rare. And so any issue like that, I'd be saying you really need to talk to specialists. And one of the great things about Ireland of the 21st century is that we have developed a network of really good veterinary specialists around the country, so that, you know, there's several centres you can go to, and they're equipped to do things like MRI scans, CT scans, all laboratory work, ultrasound, everything. And people who do nothing but dealing with tactile hyperesthesia. So they see dozens of cases, so they're really good at telling you what to do.
If you had a little break to do a little Google, Pete, you could come back with an answer.
That's a trade secret, that one. It's one of the beauties of radio, of course, is you can do that on radio and nobody can see you doing it, you know. Anyway,
God.
let's just get a couple more here. How is Bertie on the lead? Does he pull? She's got a Cocker Spaniel cross like that pulls like a horse.
Yeah, it's funny, he's actually better off the lead than he is on. That might be stating the obvious, but even just in terms of, I think when he knows he's on the lead, he's just even extra mad to go after certain things.
Yeah.
When he's restricted, he's kind of more, or when he's not restricted, he's kind of more chilled. He definitely does pull, yeah, without a doubt. If we're on a footpath, he tries to, you know, go out on the road, and if there's a dog across the road, like, there's no hope. You have to hold him really tight. But
Yeah.
that's probably an age thing as well. I'm sure he'll get used to knowing, like, he has to stay with us.
Like, he's a young adult, but I don't think they mature properly till about 2 years of age, really, you know. And it is it's a constant training thing as well. And there's different types of harnesses. Some are better than others for helping a dog slow down a bit. But I think actually it's more about learning. Like a dog should just want to walk beside you. That's the idea. The harness, the lead and collar or whatever harness, it's meant to be just like an emergency thing, an emergency stop, so you can control the dog if it really legs it in a dangerous kind of way. But generally, the idea should be the dog just wants to walk beside you. That's the aim, I think.
I do think if you live in an area though where there are cars and stuff, it can be so scary, especially with the puppy, to chance the whole off the lead thing. I was really scared at the start, and Paddy was adamant that we do it, because he was like, it'll pay off. I was really freaked from the get-go that he would dart. But I think if you get at them young enough, they just want to stay with you. That's, as you said, they want to.
Yeah, that's the aim. And here's another good behavior one. My 7-year-old collie is afraid of beeps from the phone, from the TV, and it's getting worse. And he runs away and hides. How's Bertie with noises? Sorry,
I lost you there.
How's Bertie? Does he get frightened of noises?
No, he's generally actually okay. Like, let me think. Like, if it's just the normal stuff. If the doorbell goes or if someone knocks, he'll bark. But there's nothing major. Like, he's fairly fine. And that was, you know, another thing. Sorry, I was saying like we're like the saints of how to, you know, raise a dog. But we were trying. I suppose with lockdown, it was such a project for us to try and give him as much training as we could. But that was another thing. We wanted to make sure he was out amongst traffic and getting used to different noises. We kind of freaked ourselves out. We were like, oh God, I wonder now with lockdown, will he not be used to the real world when it actually comes about? But no, generally he's fine. He's good. Because
I think that's the key for these people. I mean, it's about getting used to noises, and it starts when they're really young, like young puppies. And for their collie, even if the collie just had bad experiences with beeps when it was young, that can be enough to upset it for life, you know. I mean, what you're meant to do with that is a process that's called desensitization and counter conditioning. Desensitization and counter conditioning. All that means is start off with very faint beeps, like make your phone beep in the other room. And when it beeps, you give your dog a really tasty treat, you know. And then if your dog doesn't react, that's cool. Then you bring the phone a bit closer and make it beep a bit louder, and give your dog treats as long as it stays calm and relaxed. And so gradually the idea is that your dog just gets used to the background noise of beeps and is happy out. That's the idea. And you can buy soundtracks of things like beeps, and also fireworks and gunshot and thunder, all those things, soundtracks. So you play them sort of in the background, really faint, and rewarding your dog when they're good, and then gradually turning up the volume as they get louder, as they stay calm. And so you can end up like deafened by firework noises and thunderstorm noises, and your dog's just there chilled out still, and everybody's happy.
Happy out. That's the way to do it.
That's the idea. Listen, I'm sorry we've gone on a bit too long here. I think there's lots of questions, which is great, but we're just not going to be able to get through them all. So I'd say to people, well, you know, if you go to PetFix, and you can send, there's an Ask a Vet question there, Ask a Vet button there, and you can click on that button, and you can send me a question, and I'll get back to you usually within an hour or so. And there's one more thing somebody wanted to talk about. In March, 2 weeks ago, and they're saying they miss their dog a lot and cherish your pets. So true, isn't it? That's the one downside of having a pet, is it's just so blooming devastating when they eventually go. It's such an upsetting time. And to me, I guess it's a lesson in the fact that that life is short, and we have to enjoy every minute. And that includes
back.
How's it going?
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened. I was about to pay you a big compliment and something went wrong. But I'm back again. What I was going to say was that there was a time a while ago when we had an issue with Bertie. It was from the beach, and oh my God, am I there? Yeah, we had just come back from the beach, and Bertie's how should I put it? Manhood, his Leroy Osquelga. There was an issue. There was an issue with them. They were really red. And he seemed to just be like at them, and we were like, oh God, what the hell is wrong? I don't know if it was like the sand irritated them or something. Anyway, I took a picture and I sent it to the PetFix website, and you were back to me within half an hour on a Saturday night, and you told us exactly what to do and how to manage it. And honestly, I can't recommend the service enough. It's absolutely brilliant. And
a lot of the time, all people need is the experienced ear of somebody who's familiar with these kind of issues. And you know, sometimes I would say to somebody like yourself, look, do this simple thing and it should be all right. Or other times you say, whoa, that sounds like it's really serious. You have to get to the vet, the emergency vet right now with that one. And it's just helping people sort out simple stuff and what to do with the complex stuff as well. Because, I mean, depend on us so much, these little animals, don't they? They can't help themselves. We have to help them. And it's a big responsibility. So I think the internet is an amazing place to get information, but it's actually surprisingly tricky to get trustworthy information. And that's the whole point of PetFix, is to give people trustworthy information. So listen, Doireann, thank you so much for everything. It's been great chatting to you. I've really enjoyed that. And I really enjoyed especially meeting Bertie there.
He's very busy. He's very busy chewing a toy now, so he doesn't have time to say goodbye. But I'm sure he says he's delighted to have been involved. And thank you so much for having me.
You're very welcome, and we'll talk to you again another time. Thanks so much.
Thanks a million.
All right.
L is for the way.
At PetFix Club, we want to make owning a pet the best it can possibly be for you and the one you love. Enjoy personalised online pet care at petfix-club.com. Start your free trial today. Love your pet? Join the club.